So today we have to talk about Sentinels and what is going on for that team, because in their last 4 maps, they have won, a combined 21 rounds, and of course they have lost a combined 52. And 21 and 52, that's quite a big gap in between those numbers. So what is going wrong for this team? And we're going to take a look at EG versus EG on Fracture. And we're going to start off here with round number 3, and in round number 3, this is actually EG's bonus, of course, so you can see they don't have a great buy. They don't even have one full rifle here, Vandal or Phantom, so, it's not a great bonus, even as bonuses go these days, but still, they're going to manage to win it. And what they're going to do here is they're just going to go for this south side pinch, and well, this is going to just show some of, I think, Sentinel's problems. I'm not sure if, the communication or the protocols maybe are, fully there with this team in some of these rounds, because you'll see in this round, this is a pretty common thing, for EG, especially on a bonus round, right? Southside pinch, like, this is something that Sentinel should be, pretty used to seeing, to be honest. But you'll see in this round that they just kind of end up getting caught out and losing the first 2 kills, and the round is kind of over before you know it. So here come EG. They're going to destroy this turret here, and straight away, right, as soon as this turret gets destroyed, alarm bells are ringing. There's only 2 of you there, so if this is a full south side pinch, you are in kind of some deep trouble here. The drone is going to come out from this way, and I think a stun is about to come out from Ethan here. You can see he's kind of lining up to do it, and I don't know if it catches both of them, if it only catches one of them, but they end up in a bad spot. Let's put it that way, right? They end up in a pretty bad spot, as you can see, because when we look at the map now, it's like, yeah, this is not good. And normally, obviously, your escape to these kind of pinches is just to take the rope, right? You just take the rope, you get on out of there, you get to safety, and the rest of your team, comes and takes the space elsewhere. And if these pinches don't get kills, as the attacking team, you're normally like feeling okay, because you'll normally get the spike down and you'll normally be in a good spot. There is a second layer to this as well that I just want to point out that will be crucial for later, which is that they left the spike up here as well. So as this pinch is coming in, Sassy has had to run back to come and retrieve the spike here, which is going to delay the plant, which you'll see we'll come into it a bit later as well. But here come EG, and you can see, I'm not sure if Marv is stunned there. I think he is. I think he gets tagged because the breach does get an assist. So, I think that Marv was in a pretty bad spot being stunned there as well. And now Pancada is just in a world of hurt, because obviously he's being pinched in from 2 sides. And so, yeah, he's looking one way, gets killed by the other, and we're in a 5v3. But now, as I said, this is a pretty rough spot here. Now, Def tries to come underneath and make a play, but they see him. He can't quite get a kill, so he has to kind of retreat there. And now Sassy, being alone and having seen people here, he's a bit cautious about getting in onto the site, so the spike is going to be a bit late here. Second has managed to push spawn, which is good for them, but, they're in a 3v5. And this isn't a great spot to be in. So you see Sassy delay. He's a bit tepid about actually coming and planting the spike at this point. So they couldn't even fully capitalize on the space, probably because he had to go back and run and get the spike. Now these two, I do like that Calm is jump peeking this, right? He's aware that this is a good possibility. But now the problem is, because it took them so long to actually get the spike down here, that means that Sassy now is kind of trapped, right? He's planting the spike, but now these guys are going to be in a position where he can't really move, right? And so Sassy is in a really rough spot as well. Second can't quite convert that kill either on those guys, and so now Com sends out the dart. Yes, it does get destroyed, but now Sassy is in a really, really rough spot, and he's about to die in just a second. You see, it's basically a firing squad on him here. And so now it's a 5v2, and, they know where some of these players are. Second eventually just goes pushing on Boostio to go and get this kill, but Calm here does well as well. Just show your presence, but don't die, right? As long as you don't die, you are a massive problem, because how are they ever going to try and stop someone planting the spike when they've got someone who could always just come behind them at any point? And that's pretty much exactly what happens as they do get onto the spike, and you see they smoke them off, and it's good by EG. But I mean, yeah, this start of the round for Sentinels went so bad, and yeah, we see in the end it's just pretty much a mop up there. Def will end up keeping his gun, but this was obviously a bad start straight away for Sentinels. Now let's come to round number 5, which I actually think is a pretty good example here of Sentinels. It's not like they do everything wrong, and I don't want to give you the kind of impression that Sentinels are doing everything wrong, because they're not. Here's an example from round number 5 where, again, it's a full buy, and you see EG are kind of lined up to do the same south side pinch, and they are actually going to end up destroying this turret. But this time there's 3 people here on the south side for Sentinels, so they feel maybe a bit more confident that they can actually take this fight, and they actually get themselves, I think, into a good decent, kind of crossfire positions here in just a second, and, in position to kind of deal with this, right? They get themselves in positions where, they can swing off each other, right? You've got Zekken taking contact this way that Marv can swing off. You've got Marv taking contact this way that Pancata can swing off. They get themselves into pretty good positions here overall, Sentinels, and this looks like, something that, is good, right? Like, this is good, and it's a good response. The dog comes out towards Arcade. Okay, we don't feel any more pressure coming out from EG, right? Okay, yeah, they had that initial flurry of destroying the turret and whatnot, but okay, not too much has gone on. Now, actually, Demon 1 has walked underneath, and we've got Boostio here taking this angle. Now, the thing is, Boostio may be getting a bit over-aggressive here. He's got an op in this round, but he's Killjoy opping, and I said this at the time, he's probably good for one here, but, I mean, he's just going to get traded because... yeah, there's nowhere he can go. So maybe just getting a bit over-aggressive there with the Killjoy ult. The Seekers then come out for Sentinels, and it does see that Demon 1, you can kind of see them going towards him here, is underneath. And that causes Sentinels a bit of a problem again, because of course, as they're going for this B split and trying to get it onto the B site, Demon 1 being underneath means that, he could come from either side and kind of backstab them, right? So... now, again, they're a bit unsure as to what exactly they want to do here, but I like, again, the idea that they come up with, right? Because what they decide is, okay, Demon 1's a bit of a pain in the backside. Let's push spawn again here, right? Let's get into spawn, push spawn, and, we'll deal with it that kind of way. And as the Seekers is coming towards Com, Zekken knows where he is. He manages to get that kill on Com in spawn, and so they take spawn. And now Demon 1 isn't nearly as big of a threat. Now, as the spike is going down, EG, again, have managed to get here fast enough where Pancata, again, is kind of trapped, right? Like, if we see here, you see that Jorgmo is kind of in position here to where, yeah, there isn't really anywhere for him to go without taking a fight there, and so he is in a bit of a rough position. And Aftershock, you might have just seen, came in just there, and so now, yeah, it's a pretty rough position for Pancata. He has to kind of swing out. Ethan kills him. Okay, though, still a 3v3, right? And it's a 3v3 where all of EG are taking from main. You've got the spike planted here for CT. Sentinels still probably would be favored here, and what's even better for them is they get out the Brimble without it having too much of an effect in this round, because this nade is kind of perfectly timed for them with this Brimble coming out from EG. The nade obviously stops EG from being able to scale up with this Brimble whilst it's going off, so they kind of get the nade in kind of a perfect time. And so now we end up in this 3v3. And again, you'd think the Sentinels would be favored here. They do have one little problem, though, and I don't know if this was maybe a miscommunication of where exactly the spike was planted. Maybe it's not, a common situation to find yourself in, but this spike is actually only spammable from this angle. And Sassy has just moved himself from here down this way. And so now these two can't actually spam onto the spike when it starts getting tapped. And that, I think, does cause them a bit of a problem, because Def, in just a second, is going to actually die to Demon 1. He's going to put out a second smoke, Demon 1, and just before I think the smoke lands, Def swings out and he dies. And so now Zekken tries to go back and kind of fill that space, but Jorgmo, I would suppose, can probably hear him doing so, and so gets ahead of that smoke, kills Zekken, and now Sassy, you can see, can't spam the spike, and they lose the round. And so this is a round where I think Sentinels actually did a lot of things right, but they just make maybe one or two crucial mistakes that ends up costing them these rounds. Now let's come to round number 7, and again, we're going to see more aggression coming out from EG here on the defensive side, this time towards Arcade. We're going to get a stun down here, a smoke, a recon dart, and Pancata, he's all alone this time. We've also got Boostio with his op looking down this way, but a crucial part of this round as well is actually the buy here for Sentinels, because Marv only has 2 smokes in this round, and I think that honestly is going to be a pretty big point in this round. And you'll see why in just a second. So we get the aggression coming out from EG, as I said, and Pancata does the right thing. He just takes the rope. Now, Sentinel's response here maybe is a little slower than I would personally like, right? They kind of still just slowly walk onto A, which does give EG and Com here the kind of time to get back into kind of a position where he can heal all of this going on. And, he gets the time to put the drone out, and he tags Def here, which means that Def has to then kind of retreat a bit and whatnot. But they do, come in onto the site eventually, and they hear that op. Now, the thing is, they just heard the op up here, right? But the thing is, they only had 2 smokes, right? So they've smoked off the normal 2 places, but because this is just a full A main hit with only 2 smokes, they can't just run into this op. I mean, they're just going to get destroyed, and that's a fair enough assumption. So what has to happen is Marv decides to use his ult, which again, isn't necessarily the wrong decision, but of course it's not maybe optimal usage of this ult, because essentially this Brim ult now has just kind of turned into a a smoke in a sense, a smoke that you can't be in. Which obviously isn't ideal, and it's going to become even less ideal in just a second, because what's going to happen is that a killjoy lockdown is going to come in. And now there's no way of destroying that killjoy lockdown, right? I mean, they're still not in a terrible position. They've got the plant for A main, and they're going to use their own killjoy lockdown as well. So they're still in a okay position here, but obviously if they had a Brimalt now, this Brimalt is now going to destroy the killjoy lockdown, and it's going to push them back for the post plant. So obviously not having that smoke kind of was, I think, a bit of a crucial part in this round. EG now are going to start their retake. You see the breach ult is coming in onto the site just there. That's going to hit Marv. Jogmo's going to blast back up and above. And, well, he's going to manage to find the kill here on Marv. There he goes across. And I don't know if he saw him or whatnot, but he gets that kill. And now Sassy, unfortunately for him, is about to get detained as well. They've managed to destroy Sentinels lockdown here, I think just with a nade. I'm not sure if there was anything else going in on towards it, because Ethan hasn't used his aftershock, and Com hasn't used any shock darts either. So I think it was just a nade that destroyed that lockdown. You see the timing here is really bad though for Sassy, as Jogmo gets that one. And now they're going to try and spam Sentinels, and they do get some kills, and it's one of those situations, I think, where they get the kills, and maybe they think that they got the diffuser, but they didn't. And, well, Demon 1 just sticks it through, and EG win another round. And then finally, let's come to round number 19, which is the final round in the game. Sentinels are now on the defensive side. EG are attacking, and Sentinels this time will be the one going for the defensive aggression, as they're going to come out towards B main. They send in the flash, they send out a stun down there, and they get Zekken up onto this box just here. He's actually going to get spammed a bit here, Zekken, as EG may be expecting. You see he got flashed as well, and EG pushed them back. They send the drone in here as well, in towards A, and Boostio starts to take some of this control down towards drop as well. So in come EG, they're just going to send in the smokes, so they're going to blast back in onto the site, they send a dart in, and they take the site, right, and they're going to get the spike down in just a second. And so we're in a 5v5 retake, all this kind of perfectly normal at this point, nothing too crazy is going on. But again, I talked about critical mistakes. I think that this might be the critical mistake that Sentinels make in this round, which is that Def aftershocks this. And I'm not sure if he knows that he's missed this or not, but Com is able to avoid this in just a second. And so I'm not sure if Def thinks, well, he can't be there because I aftershocked it, and so therefore he can't be there, and so therefore we must be fine. But you'll see in just a second how that, I think, might have an effect on the round. Once that's going on, the dog comes out and is going to see Boostio. And again, it's a nice idea. The dog gets a stun. They get a kill from it. It's all well and good. And it's looking good there for Sentinels. And now they start this retake. And they're in a 5v4, right? The thing is, it is a 5v4. They're essentially going to lose a 2v5 here, though, because as far as I can tell, Demon 1 and Ethan play no part in this round from here on out. They are just complete passengers in this round. And all of Sentinels are going to die to just these two players on site. And the first kill here from Pancada, I think, is maybe going to come because they don't expect Com to be in this angle. You can see that Pancada's not looking at it. Maybe because Def aftershocked it and thought, I've cleared out that angle. When in fact, of course, he didn't. Whilst that's going on, you can just see here as well from Marv, he's in his little iPad there getting ready to put down another Brim Smoke. So the timing is not going to be good here for Marv either, where Com is going to find this kill. Then off the contact, Jogmo here is going to swing out, and he's going to find Marv, I think, coming out of maybe the Brim animation there, kind of pulling his gun out. And so there goes one kill. There goes the second kill. You just saw the smoke come down there from Marv. Now the flashes are coming out. Okay, these two line up. That's a bit unfortunate, but Jogmo gets both those kills. Com gets Def, and that's it. And as I said, it's not that Sentinels are doing everything wrong. Some of the things they're doing in those rounds are perfectly fine responses, but it just seems like there's always a critical error. There's always something that's costing them a round, whether that be early in the round, whether that be late in the round. There's just always something going wrong, and something's a bit off at times. And EG were able to punish it well enough and go on to win this series pretty comfortably.